anything, any precaution regarding the use for as in theory, not as in practice. We'll do it in practice.
How many million is the limitation?
All right, this is a good question. We always have a specific concentration per the sperms that we are about to use. If I'm let's say I have a stock solution like a liter of nanoparticles that I'm working with, I am in control of how much sperms that I will be using. But in that case, we are using one dose that has 50 microliters, and this 50 microliter volume is corresponding to 5 million sperm. They used some used to say it's corresponding to 10, some used to say it's corresponding to 15, but then we ended up with the best formula says 50 is corresponding to 5 for the best results possible.
Volume doesn't matter.
Volume doesn't matter at all.
Concentration.
You're manipulating volume according to what type of style you prefer to use. That's all. But like let's say you can do the same MASE selection in 1 ml and in half ml and then 300 microliters. But what we care about is having a concentration that's adequate to the amount of
50
particles.
microliter.
Yes, exactly,
Fine.
exactly. Because 50 microliter could be like within the range of 125 or 200 micrograms. So we're dealing micrograms here versus a million of sperm. Okay, this is why I told you to use 10 million and then reduce it to 500 or 300, because in that case you have around 5 million, which is adequate to the concentration that you are about to use. Okay, all right. Any other questions?
So from the tube we will have to take only from the top of the this one.
Aspirate.
Yes, you take from the surface layer, and if you don't find enough in the surface layer.
Like we are doing the clinical case for HC.
Yeah.
We apply this technique for the HC sample.
Exactly.
So we have to take from the top, no, or from the bottom.
No, not from the bottom. The bottom basically has the particles that are bound to the bad sperms. So you take the good sperms from the surface. Exactly.
You can resuspend the decant just to better results.
You can resuspend it how, doctor?
You can add, the same procedure. You
Yes.
can make it double in the same sample just to give better results, or you
Yes,
just
of
one.
course, but yes, definitely. But you'll end up depleting more and more sperms, because the more sperms are exposed to any media or any condition, the more they are suffering from damage. And this is why they will respond to you as well. Plus, one important remark is that when you increase the concentration to like let's say above, let's say 200 or 300 micrograms, and you end up with 1 milligram in the tube, this is when you have what we call non-specific binding, or
Yeah,
NBS.
this is what I was asking.
Yes,
Yeah, non-specific binding.
sorry.
Yeah.
Non-specific binding,
Yeah.
NSB, sorry. It's caused because when you use nanoparticles in general biology with any type of cells, any cell suspension, you don't pass a specific limit that's above the concentration of the cells, or else they start binding to anything. They start binding to any peptide they find, any protein they find, any charge that attracts them. This is why you use a specific concentration per specific amount of sperm. All right, and this applies to everything, even in gender selection. If someone is using particles for gender selection, you keep with the dose itself, like the concentration that you're using against the concentration that you need.
The concentration has to be sharp.
It's never sharp, because the concentration of the sperm is never accurate. You would say, I see 5 million, but it's actually 6 million underneath in another layer.
Is fluctuation the results?
Exactly, so you just make an estimate. This is why we say in the range from 5 to 10 million. This is the reason we
Okay.
said that, because it's never accurate, but there is a good estimate. Okay? And by the way, 50 microliters is more than enough for 10 million. So even if you have a 10 million with you, it still would be enough. But to make sure of highest effectivity, like efficiency, as we say 5 million. We don't say this and that. We don't say much more than that. Any other questions?
Any recommendation, like very specific recommendation for the reagent itself? If it's like
Yeah, the reagent comes within sodium azide. Sodium azide is a bacteriostatic, actually, and it keeps the bacteria colony from forming. No bacteria can be formed in such solution. It's the same idea as using, let's say, quaternary ammonium compounds or such things. They keep no growth, but when we take them out via washing, the sample is only viable for 2 months and not more than that.
So you have to just centrifuge, then wash it.
You don't need centrifugation to wash it.
Just
All you need
magnet.
to do is just have the tube. The
Again,
magnet
it's
is
the
here,
magnet,
and
yeah.
you get the particles close to the wall.
Every
with the magnet.
single day or every single use? Every single
No,
day.
every single dose, not the whole stock. Just to make sure. Suppose something happens and you cannot do for the rest of the, let's say, the month, the work. You will have to push your work into the next month. So in order to be safe and keep it for like 4 to 5 months in storage, you just take the 100 microliters that you are about to use, or the 200 microliters that you are about to use, and 3 times wash them. 3 times, very important, 3 times, because sodium azide concentration would be completely washed off the particles once you do it the 3rd time.
Okay.
All right. Very simple procedure for washing. All you got to do is just have the tube close to the magnet. The magnet will attract the particles to the wall, and then you go with
Wash it
a pipette and just aspirate the liquid, the media, and discard it and put your favorite media and then shake it. As long as the media that you're using doesn't have proteins and doesn't have egg yolk. Okay, that's all regarding this question. Any questions?
HTF, we are what's the component of our sperm wash?
It has albumin. Albumin is okay. PSA is pretty okay with us. No problem.
HTF or phosphate
Yeah,
buffer
proteins, you know, like
phosphate
culture
buffer
media,
solution.
it's so
I read
connected
it.
with so many things, even insulin.
No, the
sometimes, which
albumin.
makes it
Albumin
like,
is fine, he said.
Cause a non-specific binding right away with any particles.
Any other question?
Any further questions before we proceed to practice?